so we introduced it 2 years ago. 3 years ago now, actually. And the first time we introduced it was on a formative basis. And it is now well integrated into the curriculum, and it is part of our summative assessment. So looking back at after the first year, what lessons did we learn from this project? Well, I suppose, like for any project, we became aware that what we were asking students to do was actually a monumental task. And I think what the most striking outcome of the project was how we opened tutors' eyes on actually what students are capable of doing and what is difficult for them. One example is what we all thought, that coming up with a research question on a kind of, these were not complex topics. They were kind of topics you would have in the news, so it was a question of general knowledge, really. We were not asking them to have some in-depth understanding of some complex historical perspective. And that was extremely, extremely difficult for them. So just being able to identify a research question and then to establish a line of argumentation was something that proved much more difficult than we thought. So that was one lesson for us. And then through the dialogue, we realized how also kind of finding information, making sense of the information, reformulating it and putting it into a structure where it was also much more difficult than we thought. So the second year, we I suppose we took our time. We didn't rush them as much. We gave a lot more support in terms of establishing the research question, and we provided more scaffolded activities in order to provide them the support that they needed. Another aspect that was, I suppose, it's not that it was unexpected, but I suppose I didn't consider it in depth, I guess, is peer assessment. I just thought probably that asking students to just peer assess their partner's work would produce something reasonable, acceptable. And actually this is a very, very difficult task for them as well. So hence the need really for training students for peer assessment. And something else that came out of this project is how by tutors coming together, working on this particular project to help year one student to really navigate this transition from A-level to university studies, we came to a shared understanding. We realized that first it was really useful for tutors who were not teaching year one students, but were maybe teaching year two students or final year students, because they had no idea of where the students were coming from. And they revised the way they were thinking about the activities and the kind of skills they needed to integrate into the curriculum. So that was a big difference. It also initiated a lot of discussion between us in terms of course content, curriculum, assessment activities, and it gave us the opportunity actually to talk about how we teach our students, to come together and to talk about it. And that was very unexpected. And that was a very, very positive outcome that I hadn't planned for, if I'm honest. And I think this is still the case today. The most useful task, or the most useful strand is the portfolio activity. That is, to me, the heart of what I want to achieve. The independent study activities, the self-assessed activities, they are kind of on the side, and we are actually considering, instead of using them on the VLE, integrate them more in the lessons and leave that element maybe on the side, but use all these activities in a more interactive way within the lessons.